RV owners, I want to talk about a manufacturer that, in my opinion, is making a bit of a comeback, and that manufacturer is Winnebago, especially with the travel trailers. This is something I noticed last year. Now, Winnebago travel trailers, I kind of group with everything else, and by everything else, I mean everything else. Your east to west, your anything out of the Forest River line, pretty much. Most of the things out of the Keystone line, they all start to look the same. They have about the same build quality. You're really just paying for the floor plan when it comes to most of these. And again, I'll be honest, I put Winnebago in that group, the generic, where they're all kind of copy paste, if you will. But again, last year I noticed a big difference. So let's take a look at this new Winnebago Access. We're also going to take a peek at a Thrive real quick, and just take a quick peek at some of the fit and finish and general build practices that they're using on their trailers that has kind of stepped them into more of a mid-tier. Still very basic trailers like the Access, but they've definitely moved themselves more into the better category, in my opinion. As you guys know, I usually group RVs into good, better, best because that's how they're built. Every manufacturer has their lines that they're well aware are good, better, and best. And out of all the manufacturers, there are 3 different categories: good, better, and best. I think Winnebago has moved themselves into better. So let's look at the basic of the basic. This is a Winnebago Access. This is at Collier RV right now, and current sale price is $19,995. This is a 2026 Winnebago Access 18 DBH, and this is most certainly a budget-friendly RV. You've got tin side walls, single axle, all the basic stuff, right? Now, going around the outside, it's the first place I looked, just looking at fit and finish, how they're doing the sealants and everything. Definitely a lot of attention to detail when it comes to things as simple as the sealants. Tin side are already hard to seal. You see a lot of sloppy work on these. But again, just looking at the attention to detail, I know it sounds small, but when you look at all of the small things, it gives you a general picture of how the entire thing is built. Give you another example here. I took a peek. I know it's really hard to see, even if I get some light behind here. Just, you know, the furnace access, they didn't just slap sealant on. It seems like care was put into the product, which is important. Now, looking underneath, you see a nice clean frame, not a bunch of surface rust already. I will say this is also an indoor showroom. Now, this is on a BAL frame, which is not made by Lippert. And that's not necessarily to take shots at Lippert, but I think we can all agree they don't have the best reputation right now. Give them time to rebuild that, I'll be fair. But right now, they don't have the best name. And sometimes it is nice to see just something different than the same copy and paste stuff everywhere. Now, another thing I caught here is if you look, the fender skirt is actually a little bit more than a fender skirt. There is a wheel well, if you will. It's a nice fitted wheel well. It just, I mean, if you look underneath here, yes, it's dirty. It's got road spray. The thing did drive down the road, but we'll just quickly compare it to a Lippert frame where we already have surface rust, just not looking as good. You know, again, I'm going to be fair. I'm going to show you both. But it's not just about the brand of the frame. It's just in general how they kind of put everything together here. You know, if we look down over here where all the wires, we have wires are secured. They're not just, you know, sloppy and laying everywhere. There's actually corrosion protection on the circuit protection there. The wiring is done a lot neater. I would like to see this done a lot different on RVs, but it is a lot neater. Again, not to compare them to Forest River, but as you can see here, no corrosion protection on any of those. We have a non-watertight junction box there for all the lights and stuff versus the nice other box. And just in general, the fit and finish, the look of it, if you will. And look, I know looks aren't everything, but looks do play a part, because if they're going to be sloppy and just throw things together where you can see them, I always like to remind you, what does it look like where you can't see? If they were that negligent in areas that are right in front of your face, what's the underbelly look like? What does inside the walls, behind the cabinets look like? Now, for the roof, this is an indoor showroom at a dealership. I can't get up on the roof. I will see if I can sling this guy up there and maybe we can make an assessment. I'll add some commentary here if I have to voice over if I see any concerns, because I can't see what you guys are seeing right now. Going back to just some of the neatness on this front cap here, come over to the plastic housing here for the water inlet. You can see it's not over torqued, it's not all wavy and looking junky on there. I do think there's a better option for that too, possibly, but it just looks better than the competitors at least. I will say it is a little sloppier here. These short cord connectors are hard to seal as it is. And on a tin side, it's not easy. So they were, I guess you can say, a little cosmetically sloppy there, but it is at least sealed. As far as appliances go, they are using a GE profile for the water heater. So you have an on-demand water heater, GE profile. I don't have the biggest opinion on GE just yet. I will say I've had a few problems with their air conditioners more than others. I don't deal with these water heaters a lot, but to be fair, they are not in a lot of units. I service a lot more Furrion and Girard because that is what most manufacturers are using. Again, this is sealed nicely. Let's go inside because that's where this thing kind of shined to me. This is a bunkhouse, believe it or not. So this tiny trailer houses 2 bunks back there. You have a dinette here, 2 cabinets here. We'll go check out the bathroom. This isn't a tour. I do actual reviews, not just walkthroughs. So you have the bathroom there. Next to the bathroom, you have your 12-volt Furrion refrigerator. They went with GE for the water heater, but then Furrion for the refrigerator. Odd choice. Greystone cooktop here, 2-burner. Got some drawers below that, cabinets. Got a recessed sink. Got some more cabinets here. You have a microwave above that and your little fan. And then, of course, you have an east to west bed, little wardrobe, some shelves above, and some storage below. So that's the whole tour. Let's talk about what I found during this tour, which wasn't really anything. I'm going to be honest with you. See this gap right here at the top of that piece of trim, you know, and then it goes away, mounted just a tiny bit crooked. Very fair for an RV. That's about the worst thing I found in here. And that's what I really want to showcase here is when talking about RVs, mass-produced RVs, travel trailers, excluding Brinkley, Alliance, Lux, right? Let's leave the top-tier players out of it. All the rest of them are really the same. That's my opinion. That's actually a pretty broad opinion. You look at Keystones, you look at Forest Rivers, you look at all these brands, for one, are owned essentially by the same companies. They're still their own independent companies. I'm going to defend that. Most people don't realize that, like, yes, Forest River does own most of these brands, but they're all their own individual management and manufacturing plants just owned by a parent company. Either way, I rambled off there. They're all the same. They use the same components, the same build practices. That's why they all look the same. I guarantee you, a large majority of you, if I walked through this entire showroom and took the decals off of every unit, most of you wouldn't be able to decipher which brand is one another. What I'm focusing on here is that fact right there. You can't tell the difference between them. But going into this Winnebago, now Winnebago, for one, just based off of the way they do things, a lot of us as techs could decipher that this is a Winnebago, right? But the fit and finish and build quality stands out here big time. I feel like that name isn't brought up enough. Now, Winnebago is a staple in the RV industry. We all know that. Winnebago, most of the time in movies, they don't even call it an RV. They call it a Winnebago. Go grab the Winnebago, because it is a staple. When it comes to motorhomes, when it comes to travel trailers, Winnebago doesn't get brought up a lot. When you think travel trailers, like any of these ones here, you're thinking Keystone, you're thinking Forest River, East to West, you're thinking all of these brands, but you forgot about the Big W. And man, the Big W is going to get a big W for me on this unit alone. Because remember, this isn't a Brinkley, this isn't an Alliance, this isn't priced that way. This is a sub $20,000 unit priced accordingly with your Forest Rivers, your Cherokee line, your R-Pods and things like that. Yes, it's very basic in here, but the build quality and the general fit and finish is phenomenal. Yes, you're going to get a basic air conditioner that still has knobs on it. Guess what? Far less to break. I will take this over any of that digital crap today. Even when it comes to furnaces, you're going to get a very basic thermostat. Guess what? I almost never replace these, and I have customers who pay me to remove their digital stuff to go back to analog. Remember that, Wayne? I'm having a hard time believing I'm walking through an entire budget-friendly travel trailer and I can't find one plate that's mounted crooked or anything like that. Everything in here is nicely done. And I normally don't even give this much hype when I do tours. I just provide facts, but this is an observation I made about a year ago. Some point last year, I was looking at some Winnebago trailers and I thought, hey, this is looking just a little bit different. And that was on a Winnebago Thrive. So let's go look at that Thrive, save the best for last. That's taking a step above this budget friendly, moving up the price bracket a little bit. But let me show you what you're looking at with that price bracket. All right, so here we have the Thrive. This is the one I spotted. This was the one that was like, hey, that doesn't look like Winnebago. And this is kind of what caught my eye. The insert trim they're using on the front cap is light up, super cool. I know the lights are annoying. I actually made a video on TikTok about, these lights because people like to leave them on all night. Just be considerate, but it is a neat feature. Now, walking around this, I won't bore you with all the fit and finish with the sealant because that same thing follows over here. This is not a tin-sided unit though. Again, you are going up just a tiny bit in price moving up to a Thrive. I guess I shouldn't say like a tiny bit. It is a little bit more significant than that. Sale price on this over at Collier RV in Rockford is $33,995 right now. And then here's all the specs on this. Sleeps 23 feet, dry weight, and your cargo. Now again, with these fenders having like actual wheel wells, I do wish they were metal. So if there was a blowout, we could say a manufacturer is actually preventing damage from a blowout. So Winnebago, if you're going to take anything from this, besides me hyping you up, definitely consider making these like at least aluminum, maybe. Now this is a tandem axle. It is equipped with the BAL exact axle mounts. So you got some different equalizers there. This is also on a BAL frame. Nice to see. This one does have powered stabilizers, if you will. Actually, no, these are not powered. These are manual stabilizers. I was right, powered. I don't know why I flubbed on that, but powered stabilizers here. Also made by BAL, so not a Lippert product. Again, not trying to take a shot at Lippert. I'm just pointing out the obvious here. And then for your spare tire, you actually have the old winch system here to bring your spare down. Now, again, just looking at, I'm going to try not to crawl underneath this thing here in the middle of this dealership. You have a pull on your fresh tank. You don't see that often, right? I spotted that before. You have a handle here, just like you have on your black and gray tanks, but this Winnebago actually has a dump handle for the fresh tank as well, so you don't have to crawl underneath there and dump your fresh tank. These are the small touches I'm talking about here. Outside of that, pretty clean underbelly. Again, I'm not gonna get down and dirty. Looking here, spot this right here, okay? What you're looking at here is two electrical devices, whatever they be, inside that are grounded to the frame. Without getting into the whole electrical theory here, that's very important. What's more important is they not only grounded to the frame using much better connectors. That's exactly what I use when I ground to the frame, but they've also sprayed coating on them to prevent them from corroding and losing the ground. In other words, causing electrical issues within the RV. These two switches that are right in front of my face make me even more embarrassed that I flubbed on the fact that those are electric stabilizers, but let's just move on, guys. Before we do that, what kind of tires are you using? Okay, not the worst tires. I think we can stop worrying about bad tires. There are still some manufacturers using cheap tires, but most manufacturers are using decent quality as of now. Now again, we're still on the outside. JBL speakers for the sound system. Now, the last Thrive, I really love the fact that they took the speakers and they mounted them in the lower radius. They don't necessarily have that ability here because they don't have that huge lower radius like the other Thrive model I was looking at. So they are in the sidewall. But I will say in some of the models, they're actually mounting the speakers down in the lower radius so that if they ever do leak, it's not going to go in the wall. I like that. I wish they would do that on every model, but I guess they don't have the ability to. While we're still outside, I will note this does have the soft glow LED lights. Now, if you look at this, some new models are doing this. They're not the only manufacturer, but this has a soft glow. So just to give you a comparison, if you look at this LED light, Versus this one, your typical LED light. This is on a Heartland. You have all the little dots, right? These LED lights, they're not very even. They're a huge eyesore if you wear glasses like me. Just as a principle, I'm going to see if I can get the glare from them to hit my glasses here, because that's what I see when you have those LED strips with all the dots. But on the Thrive, frame quality, all of that stuff, exterior sealants, I'm not going to walk all over all that again with you guys. All the same. They did amazing work on the exterior. It actually shows that a little bit of care went into this product. So let's go peek inside. On the way in, you'll see this also has the Suburban steps. I like the Suburban steps. Not enough people talk about these because not enough manufacturers are using them. Yes, solid steps are nice. The MORryde steps are nice. The Lippert steps are all right. The Suburban steps, one, are plastic, so they don't sound like you're walking up a clunky metal staircase. They have little slats going through here, so the dirt and everything comes off your shoes and falls through. More people need to talk about these because they're definitely, in my opinion, the better of the solid steps when it comes to RVs. These really show that they're different. It's not just metal steps. All the rest of them really look the same. I talked too long about those, but I have some enthusiasm for them if you can't tell. So coming into the Thrive, you have a refrigerator right here, 2 cabinets. Come in right into the bathroom pretty much. Bathroom is, nothing super wild. Main living slide as you walk into the living room, and then that sits directly across from this little kitchen area. You get a full 3-burner stove with an oven in here. The countertops in this thing, this is one of the things I noticed in the Thrive, is the countertop is one piece, right? Solid surface countertops, one piece. The sink is not going to fall out of this. Why? Because the sink is the countertop in this RV. It's wild. It's not that I've never seen this before, but in a trailer like this, again, kind of in your good, better, budget-friendly range, to see nice things like this, I don't even see the big guys doing stuff like this. So do with that what you will. Cabinets here, microwave. Do have a TV that is like the opposite across from being across from the couch, but it kind of shares with the bedroom. Now in the note of the bedroom, we're still doing these cheap curtain tracks. I guess they work, right? This is just a staple in RVs. I just figured by 2026 we'd have a better looking solution to that right there. I get like a doorway and a wall doesn't make sense here. I'm not saying get rid of the curtain, but like you get what I'm saying, right? I think anybody who's had one of these knows what I'm saying. They fall apart. They're not the best quality. So I being unbiased, I will say I'm not a big fan of that. Bed, nothing crazy, right? Basic RV mattress. Upgrade that with Brooklyn bedding and you'll be good to go. And just like the other one, I found one spot in here that really bothered me, and it caught me from across the room, and that was just that little gap in that style right there. But other than that, as you go around this thing and look at the fit and finish and how everything's put together, these are put together with care, which tells me that there's probably care put into the places I can't see, right? All of this, that you don't have a bunch of nail holes in your fascia. I guess we can count that as being a little bit crooked, but like they set a high standard. So now I'm looking for like little tiny, like I wouldn't even notice this little variance in your average RV, but because of everything else, like I'm going to nitpick that tiny stuff. Speaks for itself. It really does. They're not using valances on the windows. I don't know if I'm a fan of that or not, but they're not doing it on any of them really. As far as I've seen, or any of the Thrives or Accesses I've looked at, they really are bare bones, if you will. I mean, yeah, you're getting a really fancy sink, but at the end of the day, bare bones. They're not focusing on weird fancy technology and digital this and touchscreens that. They're focusing on building a quality RV, right? I'm not going to say that's what Winnebago's known for. I have some quarrels with their roofing. I'm sure AZ RV Expert will agree with me. I think that's how half his channel was built, was just RV roofs. Particularly Winnebago roofs. But we're talking about the travel trailers here, and we're talking about them stepping a bit out of their category and not trying to be like everybody else, which is the entire point of this video. Not this particular model of the Thrive or that particular model of the Access. It is just for you to put Winnebago back on your radar when you're out shopping for RVs. When you compare this unit right here, the Access, the first one I showed you, with this Puma and this Delaterra and, oh God, what is this thing up here in front of me? You get what I'm saying. They all start to look the same, but when it comes down to quality care and how they're built, somebody has to stand out as a little bit different. And right now, to me, as an RV technician, an RV inspector, content creator who reviews RVs for you guys, I feel like Winnebago is doing that. They are setting themselves apart. There's a very clear difference in the travel trailers they are producing right now compared to similar models from their competitors. So it's something you might want to put on your radar. I know some of the other manufacturers might do some better advertising, so they might be kind of at the top of your head when you're out shopping at these shows or at the dealers right now. But if you walk past the new Winnebago travel trailers, take a peek, because I think you're going to be really impressed with what you see. Winnebago, please do not make me look bad and start doing the opposite of what I'm seeing right now. I'm putting my neck on the line actually promoting, or not promoting, but hyping up a brand, because I don't normally do that, but I have to call it like I see it. Just like I said last year when I saw the improvement with Forest River, I have to call it like I see it. Winnebago, I see it. If you guys want to see some more RV tech tips, tricks, and even some tutorials, make sure you guys press that subscribe button.